Of course, this hour we start with this story. Lawyers will tomorrow bring an urgent application for Parliament arson accused Zandile Mafe to be released on bail. Mafe, who was arrested on January the 2nd, has been referred to the Valkenberg hospital for mental observation after a district surgeon found he was suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. The 49-year-old is facing multiple charges, including terrorism. He is the man police say broke in and set Parliament alight. But his lawyers say they have the wrong man. They also do not agree with the diagnosis of his mental state. Mafe's attorney, Luvuyo Godla, says his client has been on hunger strike since Tuesday and will continue to refuse food until he is released on bail. Well, let me take you to eNCA's senior reporter, then Ayesha Ismail is tracking that story and joins me now with an update on that situation. Ayesha, so developments that are not entirely surprising because Advocate Zandile Mafe and Attorney Luvuyo Godla were quite clear a few days ago that they were really unhappy with the situation where Zandile Mafe was not even being given the opportunity to apply for bail, instead being referred for 30 days for psychiatric evaluation. What do we know about this urgent bail application being brought now?
So tell us what we know, and we've got confirmation from the National Prosecuting Authorities, Eric Ntabazalila, that they received a notice of motion from Zandile Mafe's lawyers that they would like to bring an urgent application in the Cape High Court at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. Now, as you correctly point out, on Tuesday, when Zandile Mafe made his second appearance in the Cape Town Magistrates Court, we heard that an additional charge of terrorism had been added to his string of other charges. And of course, Zandile Mafe saying that this extra charge had been sprung on them and that he was expecting and prepared on Tuesday to bring a bail application because he believed that his client was entitled to at least be heard on Tuesday, and then also proceeded to tell the magistrate that his client Zandile Mafe has said to him that if he is not given an opportunity to apply for bail, he will embark on a hunger strike. And Luvuyo Godla then confirmed to me that as of Tuesday, his client had embarked on a hunger strike, and we know now that yesterday, on Thursday, a bed had been made available for Zandile Mafe at the psychiatric hospital, at Valkenberg Hospital, and that he had started his 30 days observation yesterday. Now, of course, we know that the magistrate had made an order that he be sent for a psychiatric evaluation, for observation, for the purposes of determining whether he is mentally fit to stand trial. And that is the basis of him being sent for observation for 30 days. But now, of course, we hear that this notice of motion has been filed and that an urgent bail application will be heard in the Cape Town High Court, in the Cape High Court on Saturday morning and set down for 11 a.m.
So the dispute is not only about the question of whether or not he should be out on bail. Even before we get out of the gates on that one, there's also a dispute on the district surgeon's diagnosis of him suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. His defense team rejects that.
Zandile Mafe made it very clear that he did not agree with that diagnosis. But remember, the magistrate said that in the absence of another expert witness rebutting that certificate from the district surgeon, he is compelled in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act to refer Zandile Mafe for the 30 days to Valkenberg Hospital for this mental evaluation. He made it clear that he was not a medical doctor, and based on this document, based on the certificate from the district surgeon, he then made that decision to refer Zandile for this 30 days observation. And of course, we heard Zandile Mafe saying he does not agree with that. When we came outside of court, Luvuyo Godla then also made it clear that his client has said that there's nothing wrong with him and he cannot understand why the state has sent him for this mental observation, because he believes that he is compos mentis.
And the other issue, Ayesha, has to do with the question of bail itself, because initially, before we got the full extent of the charges that he's going to have to answer to if the trial does proceed, presuming that at the end perhaps it's found that he has capacity to stand trial, was whether this were Schedule 1 or Schedule 5 charges, and that now might come into play sooner than we had anticipated in this bail application, because the state, we expect, will oppose his release on bail.
The state has made it very clear that they will oppose bail. And remember, Zandile Mafe said, or rather Lovuyo Godla at the beginning was saying that he believes that this is a Schedule 1 case, whereas the state is saying initially they said it was Schedule 5, and now with the Terrorism Act, not the Terrorism Act, the terrorism charge added to the charge sheet, they're saying that they are going to argue for a Schedule 6 matter, which then means that the onus will be on Zandile Mafe and, of course, on behalf of his client to make out a case as to why it's going to be in the interest of justice for him to be released on bail. But of course, as I said, the state has made it very clear that they've got the right man and they are going to oppose bail.
All right, so the stage is set then for those arguments taking place in the High Court in Cape Town tomorrow. Ayesha Ismail, a senior reporter here at eNCA.